Hi, and welcome back to the Happiness Safari podcast. My name is Nadine. I'm a Bikram yoga teacher and happiness life coach, and the podcast is here to inspire you to live a happier and healthier life. On today's episode, I talk to Michelle. She's a very inspiring human being. One part of her thinks she should mention where she grew up, which job she pursued, or which countries she crossed. But the other part of her feels like these pieces of information are all of no real importance. Identifying oneself with these kinds of experiences categorize and put us into boxes. And boxes come with borders, with separation, which is something her heart never understood. Writing was always her go-to habit when she felt like her words couldn't find the resonance in the world. It's been the only constant in her life. Now singing is her biggest passion, and she shares this with us towards the end of the interview, so stay tuned. She is a very creative person, only 25 years old, but very inspiring, living the life she wants instead of doing what society expects from her. We speak about her childhood and being a successful athlete in her teens, and how she felt loved for her successes and not for who she was, and how she was true to herself and ended her career. From today's episode, you will learn how to make decisions based on your heart instead of your head, how you can let go of expectations of others, how to understand what you want, how to find your voice, how to overcome limiting beliefs, how to step right into your vulnerability, how to finding the strengths within you and who you really are, how not to avoid when you're not happy. I hope you enjoy the interview. We also do a short meditation. We speak about lots of other things, and again, you will hear her singing, and Michelle has a beautiful voice. So yeah, wherever you are, walking your dog or being at home, enjoy this interview. Hi, and welcome to the Happiness Safari podcast. And today I speak to lovely Michelle. She's living in Mallorca, and Michelle is a super, super creative person, and she does so many different things, but she does them all with passion and also to inspire others. So that's why I'm talking to you. So welcome, Michelle, to the podcast. So lovely to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to share my story a bit.
Nice. So how happy are you today?
I am now very happy. I was struggling a bit in the morning. Just like for me, the morning is sometimes the hardest time to get going, even though I wake up early, but sometimes, especially lately in the winter when it's still dark outside, it takes me a bit to get the mood up. So yeah, but now I'm great.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you later what you do actually then to get the mood up. So let's not forget that. And would you like to share with the listeners a little bit of who you are and what you do?
Yes. Okay. So let's start with what I do. I guess it's easier. So I do a lot of yoga, and since this year, I decided to become a teacher and to really deepen my practice, to understand better the movements of the body and this amazing connection between breath and mind and body, and just the chemistry in the body. And beyond that, I love to sing. It's my biggest passion. And I just like expressing whatever comes up, emotions in a way. And I say a way because there's so many ways to in a way free yourself and release these blockages that we have when we just swallow our emotions down. And so that's what I do. Who I am, yes, I would say I'm a very creative and emotional person, and I take a lot of decisions based on my heart rather than my head, which is sometimes hard to navigate through in our society, because there's a lot of expectations. Also, there were, and probably still are, a lot of expectations from my parents about how I should be and what I should do. And so that caused a lot of internal struggles for me. So that's why I started. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to ask, how do you do it? Because it is very hard, and I know myself. So maybe you can, give people tips like, how do you actually listen to your heart instead of your head?
I always felt like it's not really a choice for me. It just seems healthier to me. Like, I'd rather deal with the problem that comes with maybe sometimes feeling like I don't fit in, I don't belong. What am I doing? I'm 25, I never studied, and I really have no stability. But I feel like I get so much reward from being myself, from not having to pretend to fit in or to pretend to be happy in a place where I'm not happy. That, yes, in the end, it makes me feel better. So I try to choose it every day. But
how do you feel that it's your heart and not your head? How can you define that and separate it?
I think it's for me when I start doing something and I just do it without starting to analyze it, then I know it's my heart, and and it feels different. It feels like I'm suddenly aligned, and I feel very content, because at the end of the day, it's like I just feel like I'm myself. Whereas if I start analyzing things and I am just thinking, I get so confused. Like, I feel like I'm everywhere and I'm trying to, my energy isn't focused. I guess and that's how I kind of notice when I'm too much in my head, and I hear all the conditioning, and it's really hard sometimes because I am still a lot in my head. Like, I do still think a lot, and and I know how it kind of slows me down.
Being your head.
Yeah.
So have you ever regret a decision you made based on your heart?
No.
No.
Has it hurt me? Yes. But I guess it's like pain with purpose, almost, I want to say. It's painful, but it's still rewarding, because you see you learn from it.
I love pain with purpose, actually. That's a beautiful expression. Maybe we try to go back and dive in, because you told me a little bit before that when you started pursuing happiness, and I guess going a different way, as you say, like society expected you to follow. So how did that start, and where did it start, and when did it start?
Yeah, it's actually okay. So I was, I think, 16 years old, and I read a book, and maybe you know it. It's German. It's called Glückskinder.
No, I think so. I'm not sure if I read it, but I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. So basically, I read it, and it was questioning a lot of society's goal, and it just resonated so much with me. I felt like I was reading the book, and the author was just kind of writing it directly to me, speaking to my heart. And that's when I kind of lost even more the motivation to put so much effort and energy into trying to get good grades and studying, just like learning things by heart, they say, right? But it's really just, for the sake of learning it and then spitting it out and then forgetting it. And I was also, in my childhood, I was pursuing athletics, track and field, for many years, and quite intensely. Like I was really young, so I don't know if I could call it professional sports, because I basically did it until I was 16, but it was almost 10 years of my childhood. So it feels like a really intense time, and it's all about competing, right? Competition and being the best. And I also was quite, I was a good athlete for a time, and I was winning a lot of competitions, but you at the end of the day, you have a medal, but it's so meaningless. And I think that's also was a big part of me questioning, is this happiness to be the best? And also I felt like a lot of the love I would receive in my family was achievement based. So if I would do good, then I would be someone good, right? Like, and I just arrived at that point where I didn't want to accept that kind of love. That's so conditioned in a way on how my results are. And that's what I think started for me, is like, I just want to be loved for who I am, whether I'm good or bad. Like I want to feel enough. And I don't want it to matter if I'm the first or the last, and I also saw so many people in my environment struggling with this, trying to be the best, for then what I noticed, kind of nothing. Like so much effort into something, and it doesn't make you feel good. And that was a huge shift for me actually in my teens, which has still it's still influencing me now every day.
But that's, I think, like beautiful. I mean, that you realize that also. I mean, when you're like 16, because I know that people probably are struggling when they're much older, not even like requesting this for themselves. And I think everybody really, deserves to be loved for who you are, instead of, what you do or what you achieve. And do you feel that now? I mean, do you feel it for yourself, and do you feel it from others, that you're loved for who you are?
Yes, I feel it especially from my friends, because I'm very lucky to have really deep connections with my friends, where I can openly share and be myself and be vulnerable, and that makes me really feel loved for who I am. I would say I still struggle a bit with my family.
Did you ever share with them how you felt?
I am starting now. I mean, I started also a blog about a year ago, which it's about personal development, and there's a lot of my story in this, and they read it, and they know, they feel it, and it also caused a lot of emotions, I would say, because I sometimes feel like I want to share even more, but I also know it hurts them sometimes to hear that, and so I'm still holding back. But at the same time, I know the way to heal is to open up, to be vulnerable, and I do feel like if I'm vulnerable, they will be vulnerable, and then we can move on. So I'm at this point right now where I should be going home to speak with them, to resolve, but with COVID, it's been so difficult, and it definitely has just kind of slowed down everything a bit. And
but I think you're right, like you have to be vulnerable, and then other people open up as well. So I think, again, this is very, very brave what you're doing. And can we just go back to the moment? I mean, you said you read the book and then you were like 16, and was there a point where you were standing on the podium with your gold medal, and then you just thought, now this is it and I don't want to do it anymore? Or what was the situation at the moment where you decided to quit, basically?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's like a bottle of champagne. You shake it, and then there's pressure building up, and one day it plops, and you're like, okay, I'm done. And for me, yes, I was basically competing on a German championship. And in the end, like the whole competition, and it's 2 days of competition. It was, they call it Heptathlon or Siebenkampf. And it started with me just not actually enjoying what I'm doing because there was so much pressure on performing. And I think I had 2 days full of anxiety and trying to, be the best. And then also being so, in a way, nervous that I wouldn't perform at my best and that would put me down. And then I was down. So then again, like it gets even more difficult. And then in the end, and I was actually 1 year younger. So I was starting in a higher level, basically, even though I was younger. And that was then, in the end, I became 4th. And that's actually still, a really great achievement. But I was so discontent. I was so unsatisfied and unhappy. And I just felt so sad. And I think it was that day when the sadness just overcame me. And I didn't understand why I couldn't value myself for putting so much effort into the sport. And then just, not seeing it because I was only 4th. And that's when I was like, okay, I want to stop. I want to explore a different way of life. And I don't want to compete anymore because it's just feels so fundamentally wrong to me, this idea of competition, because I love the idea of union, like yoga, right? And also, I don't think it's like when you believe in union, you also become one as a person. And when you always compete, it's almost like you're tearing yourself apart. I think you're just competing with your environment, but actually you're constantly competing with yourself as well. And that day was just like, okay. And then I stopped, and it was super hard because all my coaches as well were like, why are you stopping? Like, you put so much time and effort in it. My dad was really mad at me and of course couldn't understand. And also a lot of his time was attached to my sport. And there was just so much pressure. And that was the day when I said, okay, I need to pursue another way of happiness.
Wow. Oh, wow. And what did you do next?
I feel like I started reading a lot about personal development. I had a boyfriend, my first boyfriend. I learned about love, and I started more and more singing. And I finished school and I decided to understand what I want in life, what I care about, because like the sport took so much time from me that I never actually had the chance to think about what I wanted. And that's also why when I finished school, I didn't study. I didn't feel like I knew what I wanted from life. And I knew if I would study, it would be a decision based on maybe what my parents want for me to study, to disability, and I absolutely no blame for that. But I just knew that I will probably be very unhappy if I decide to do. And so I left home because I knew I couldn't have dealt with the pressure that was there present of me doing something with my life, having a career. And then I became a flight attendant actually for 2 years.
Wow.
That was kind of a way out.
And how was that?
It was so much fun. Really, I really enjoyed it. Seeing the world, meeting different people every day, working with different people every day. It keeps you in a way very busy, and you just absorb everything like a sponge. And then, though, I came to the point where I knew I wasn't really using my intellect, and I feel like there's still a huge part missing in my life. Like now I'm just having fun and I'm traveling everywhere, but I think it also became clearer to me then that I was escaping something, and that I wanted to figure out what that was more and more. And yeah, and then I stopped basically.
And what would you say was your biggest learning from all of your story, basically, from maybe the moment you quit until where you are now?
Wow. The biggest learning between once I quit athletics until now. Oof. Okay. I really understood that we are all human and we all have the same motive of we want to be loved. And no matter what we do and how we show up, it's because we want to be loved. And that is what for me really creates this feeling of union, that you can look at everyone and you in a way see yourself in them, and that creates so much compassion that it makes me feel so whole at the end of the day. Even though I'm struggling, I know that this person also in a way struggles, might show up in a different way, but the struggle at the very core is the same. And so this really, I think this is what has taught me, what the last year has taught me.
Yeah, no, I think that's like super beautiful. And again, you're so young and you had this epiphany already. And yeah, I think that's probably our biggest challenge, like in the world, is to see each other in that way and to have compassion for each other. And as you say, like feel that like union, don't feel separated, don't try to compete, don't think that other people judge you or dislike you, but having this compassion and love for yourself and for others. So what would you recommend somebody who is maybe struggling or who is in a place like you've been and maybe had some pressure from their parents or society and kind of feels like they should break out, but they don't know how?
Stay on your path and don't question so much yourself and the feelings that come up. I think really that everything it's part of the process of learning, of healing. And it is super challenging, but at the same time, this challenge is there to make you stronger and to lead you on your path. Listen to your feelings and dare to fail, I guess. Dare to be hurt as well. I think nothing teaches us more than pain in a way, which I don't like to be in these places, but everything is passing. Life, it's like this. Everything is temporary, and we are constantly seeking stability and permanence, and it just doesn't exist. And so I think just learning to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, the discomfort is really something I'm working on every day, and it's never gonna stop. I think it's that don't try to hurry things, don't try to be already somewhere, just be where you are and fully embrace that. And
I really like that. I think there is a quote, it's like kind of happiness is related to the amount of discomfort you can comfortably live with. So I think that's very well said. What would you say was your biggest challenge you had to overcome, maybe in the last 5 or 10 years?
I think I'm in it right now, actually. Because it's the first time that I stopped moving so much, stop traveling, and I'm really like, I'm in one place. I'm not distracting myself, and I'm starting to be now a yoga teacher. And for me, it's a lot about finding my voice and speaking with authority. That is a huge challenge for me because I am quite a timid or introvert person, actually. And I don't like to be bossy. I don't, in general, I don't like to tell people what to do because I really think what I said. Also, I think people should find their own way. But if you teach a yoga class, you cannot be like, hi, I'm your teacher, go find your own way, right? To speak with authority, to kind of be present and to be comfortable in that position of being seen, of guiding, that's a huge challenge for me right now. And it has just made me really face insecurities that I have, and that finding my voice is also, I guess, connected with me singing, which now I'm pursuing more and more, and I really want to share that as well. And it's very difficult because I have a lot of limiting beliefs around my voice and around singing. So that's a huge challenge.
Wow. And how are you dealing with it? I mean, what are you doing to overcome that?
I think what works most efficiently is to have a routine and to do something continuously, like to, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, if I sing, for example, it just gives me, in a way, a lot of stability because I know I'm doing something every day. Also, it really it improves the voice to do something every day. But it kind of reminds me how devoted I am and that I really put so much effort in this. So why not share? Whereas I know if, for example, I have a down and I just cannot motivate myself. If I don't sing for 3 days and then it's the fourth day, I feel even, in a way, shittier. I don't know what's a better word. I feel even less optimistic, about sharing it. And it's the same with yoga. If I want to teach a class and I haven't been doing my own practice before that, I start to feel insecure and I don't find my rhythm. So definitely for me, it's just really this continuous doing and practicing is what gives me the most stability and security also, I would say.
Yeah, I like that. I think I was actually thinking about that yesterday, kind of developing a routine, because I thought, I mean, I do have a routine, but why it is so important? Because then you get out of this kind of doubting yourself and questioning and being like, should I do it? Should I not? And you don't even have space for making all these choices because we have to make so many decisions every day anyway. But then if you have a routine, you're like, okay, this is my maybe living by your values, but also fulfilling your needs. So you set up a routine so these are the things I want to do, I want to pursue, they make me happy, they give me meaning, this is what I need. And then if you do them every day, you just kind of do them without questioning and you stick to that. So I really, love that about routines as well, because sometimes I feel it can sound boring to have a routine, but I struggle with that myself when I travel a lot and I don't have a routine, then I feel like I'm so out of place. And I think also it's the same with yoga, finding the answers in stillness. As you say, you can have your biggest struggles when you actually pause and you stay in one place and you stop trying to run away or escape. And then you're forced with all these challenges because you have so much more time to think about things. And I think many people probably have been challenged with that during COVID anyways. But then it's great to embrace that also, to listen to it and to, do something about that. what I actually would like to ask you, I don't know, but would you like to sing for us?
Wow. I guess I could do it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Okay.
if you spontaneously know what.
Okay, wait. I'm very bad with lyrics, especially when I am on camera. So let me.
Yeah, guys, this was very spontaneous. So I wasn't prepared before, but I just thought now you spoke so much about your passion for singing. I was like, then you should maybe share.
Stepping right into my vulnerability or into my. Yeah, no, why not? Okay. Okay, I feel like I need a breathing exercise now.
We can do that. We can do that. Everybody can do that together. Just this.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You take a deep breath in through your nose. Fill up your lungs and out through your mouth. Release your legs and shoulders. Very good. Do one more time. Deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. And we do one more where we hold. So inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good.
Thank you. Wow. Amazing was it does to you. Okay. Billy Ray was a preacher's son, and when his daddy would visit, he'd come along. When they gathered around and started talking, that's when Billy would take me walking. Up through the backyard we'd go walking. Then he looked into my eyes. Lord knows to my surprise, the only one who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Ooh, yes, he was.
Wow. Beautiful. That was amazing. Oh my God. You have such a beautiful voice. Oh my God. You should definitely share this everywhere you can.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Thank
you. Honestly, and also just one thing you said before about teaching, and you're thinking you're not a bossy person and you don't want to tell people what to do. But I think actually as a yoga teacher also, and I think to me you're a very inspiring person. You inspire by being you know, by like practicing, by being vulnerable, by just kind of stepping up and going there and wanting to help. And I think people will like feel that and know that. And you don't even have to feel like you're telling people what to do. I guess you just have to show them like the right way to live. But I guess that goes for yoga and for life. And I think that's all we should do, or we're like here for, is to kind of guide other people, not to tell them, because everybody has to find, you know, their way. And obviously in yoga they could follow a certain like practice, but I think guidance is more what you're supposed to do, and you will be super good at it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, it is. It's just, I think, starting, you always look like a lot around you, and you kind of try to see how are they teaching, and to me it started, or it put me into this idea, or into this position where I started comparing myself a lot. And I suddenly felt like, oh, I need to do or say this to be a good teacher. And what you said, it's about finding that strength within who you already are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's with everything you do, right? It's not actually copying from other people. It's getting inspiration. We also get inspiration from others. But I think putting the you in you, you know, like really embracing who you are and why you are the way you are and what you have to give. And that's a like unique gift thing nobody else has. And I think in general, and I know it's super, super hard, But I guess less we're trying to compare ourselves with others, and less we're trying to maybe even copy others, and more we're trying to be ourselves, better we can help people and inspire people.
Yes, I fully agree.
Okay, Michelle, I'm asking always the last 3 questions, the famous 3 questions at the end of the podcast. So what does happiness mean to you?
What does happiness mean to me? I would say being able to share myself authentically with my surroundings. Like, yeah. Where...
Yeah, that's to the point. I think it's beautiful. And what do you do to be happy? So that maybe goes back to the start when you said this morning you didn't really feel as happy. So yeah, what do you do to get yourself into another state?
Well, specifically in the morning, I go run. I know that the light helps me a lot to wake up my system, and also the way running changes the breathing. It just kind of activates my whole system, and I'm kind of exposed to new perspective, new visions. So I this is kind of huge part of my morning routine, to just get up and run before I can get into like kind of negative thinking patterns. And sometimes it works better and sometimes it works worse. And in the winter, it usually is a bit worse because it's cold and dark. But in general, what do I do to be happy? I try not to avoid when I'm not happy. And I just sit with it, and I feel it, and I write about it, and I journal a lot.
Yeah. Nice.
And I try to love what I'm not good at, and I try not to try to change myself too much, but to just accept myself, and to share that with my friends as well.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's again a super good tip. I mean, journaling, always like letting it out, basically, right? And not trying to suppress the emotions, but sitting with it. That's very, very powerful. What was the happiest moment in your life?
Like, my first thought was probably doing something really stupid with my best friend. The happiest moment. Wow, there's so many, but I would say like being in nature. I'm thinking of like maybe there's a specific travel story that I can think of. Yeah, maybe there was this one day where in a rainforest in Malaysia, and we were driving on a little boat that was built with bamboo sticks, and suddenly the boat just started falling apart, and it was fine because we had life vests. And so after 5 minutes the whole boat was gone, but we were just floating in the water, and then it started raining, and it felt so magical. And maybe it's almost like a metaphor, when you think things are falling apart in life, there's still always something holding you, and you're still moving, and you're still afloat. There is always a way to stay above, to find the current that carries you. And
wow.
Yeah. So that was,
I love that.
Incredible.
And there were no crocodiles.
No, luckily not.
No. Wow. But I love that metaphor. Like when everything seems to fall apart, I guess, like you have something holding you. And that's so true, actually. But it's also, I think, form of mindset or perception, because you could have also freaked out probably, and be there and cry and think, oh my God, like and panic and be fearful, or you can actually embrace it and enjoy the moment, and then it could be one of the happiest moments in your life. And I think that's a choice we can basically make with almost every situation and everything with life throws at us. So thanks for sharing that.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think though also it's important to say that it's making an effort to have that mindset, because I think that we humans it's important that we feel fear, right, to survive. We still have this reptilian brain that sees fear everywhere. And so, but we don't live in that world anymore. So it takes like conscious effort now to really remember what seems to be falling apart. It's not life-threatening. It's, it's the mind that tells you that maybe, but it's a conditioning that we can change. And that now, because we live in such a different world, in such a different society, we have to put in effort to change that.
Yeah, very true. Is there another book which really inspired you would like to recommend?
So many. I guess I'll just say the most recent. It's called The Art of Loving. And it's I don't know the author because I'm very bad with names. But it's basically, it says that love is an art and it needs to be learned. And I find that already very inspiring.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's a really great book. It made me understood a lot about different kinds of love, and also the love of parents, the love of friends. Yeah, it's a good one.
Nice. I will look at the author and put that in the show notes as well.
Okay.
Michelle, thank you so much for our conversation, and thank you for the beautiful song and that you shared, and you stepped into your vulnerability and you inspired people to do the same. So thank you for all of that, and I wish you lots of happiness and all the best for you.
Thank you, Nadine. It was really special to be part of this, to share, and thank you that you're putting so much time and energy and effort into sharing this. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this interview. Wasn't Michelle's voice just so beautiful? And when you are in Mallorca and you want to find her and take her yoga classes, I will put the links in the show notes for you, also of the books she mentioned and everything else. If you like the podcast, please share with your friends. Please like it, review it, subscribe it, whatever you can do. That would help me and other podcasts so much. So thank you so much for that. Also, leave your thoughts and my Instagram under the post at Nadine Anne Yoga. And I always look forward to chat with you there and get to know you more and hear what you think about the episodes. We're going into the second season very soon, so I'm very keen of your feedback, whatever you like. Should the episodes be shorter or longer, or is there anybody you think I should interview? Would you like to be on the podcast and you think you have a super inspiring story? Please message me on Instagram, and I'm looking forward to meet you there. So I love that Michelle said at the end of the day we all want to be loved, because I think that's very true, and that we should have more compassion with one another. So that's something I take away for myself, and I always want to hear what you take away for yourself. And today I'm reading you a new quote. It's from my favorite book, The Things You Can See Only When You Slow Down. It's from Hemim Sunim, and it's a very, very great book. It has very short quotes, and I read them after the yoga class. I'm going to read more of them in the future. And today's quote is from chapter 1, Rest. We know the world only through the window of our mind. When our mind is noisy, the world is as well. And when our mind is peaceful, the world is too. Knowing our mind is just as important as trying to change the world. And I couldn't say this better, obviously, but I think it's true. And that's why I think also it's so important to work on yourself. And yeah, that's why I'm so happy that I got into personal development and I found all these tools. And I hope, the interviews, the people I'm interviewing are inspiring you to also, change your mind and know your mind and work on that. And then you can have the most beautiful life you want. I wish you all the love in the world. I see you, hear you next week. Love and namaste.